Meet Jack. Jack wakes up every morning to the sound of his alarm. He reaches for his phone even before he gets out of the bed, scrolling through social media. He pours himself a cup of coffee and sits down in front of his computer, where he spends the next 8 hours in a trance like state, bouncing between emails, chats, and never ending to do lists. He hardly takes any breaks, always glued to his screen. By the end of the day, Jack is exhausted, but he can't resist the pull of his favorite Netflix show. His dopamine addicted brain demands more. Jack complies, never realizing how trapped he is in the never ending cycle of instant gratification. Before we talk about dopamine or detox of any sort, this video was not supposed to be like this. This video was not supposed to be a video where I'm sitting in front of you guys and talking, just blabbering shit, right? This video was actually supposed to be a 14-day run through of my life where I am doing a dopamine detox and I'm actually documenting the whole journey in order to share with you guys. And halfway through the editing, I realized that a video which is supposed to be a dopamine detox video is itself filled with so much dopamine. For example, if you saw the intro of this video, it was filled with dopamine. It was filled with fast cuts, different angles, different lighting, and different narrative and sound effects and all these things. And I realized that a video which is about dopamine, a video where I'm going to talk about dopamine, should not be filled with dopamine itself. And the only reason I used that intro was to show you guys an example that how the whole video was actually going to be and how the video is actually coming out. Now, the thing that drives me crazy here is that when a person who really wants to get into a detox and actually change his life, when he goes to YouTube and searches dopamine detox video, everything he gets, any video he gets is filled with dopamine, right? Every video he gets is filled with dopamine. And I actually saw those videos and I actually tried to copy them. Not gonna lie, totally honest here, I actually wanted to copy those videos because I saw those videos getting insane amount of views, insane amount of stuff, likes, comments, and everything that I wanted to copy them. And that was the whole reason I did a 14-day dopamine detox and started documenting the whole journey. And I copied them. And halfway through the editing is when I realized that my dopamine levels are good now. I am working on this shit from 3 4 years, but the new people who actually come in are being sucked into a circle, where they're thinking that they're doing stuff, but they're not actually doing anything, right? What I'm trying to tell is our dopamine system is being used against us. Dopamine is a really great thing, it's a blessing in disguise, so to say, but our dopamine system is being used against us. For example, to put this in context, the tech guys in Silicon Valley who operate all these big social media platforms are being paid millions per annum, millions of dollars, rupees, whatever you say, per year. And their only purpose and their only main goal is to keep you guys on the platform for longer, to keep you guys hooked, to keep you guys addicted, to continue you guys watching on their social media platforms for longer and longer and longer, because the longer you watch, the more ads they can show, and the more ads they can show, the more money they will make, right? You're getting the picture here, right? Our world is set up in a way right now that we don't even realize that we are in a bubble, right? At the top there is the tech guys, the genius minded people who Harvard graduates and all these people who are building the algorithms and then paying money to the creators that we look up to. And these creators, because they are paying money, because that is their full-time income, because that is their whole life, they're using all these new tricks, subtitles and whatnot to make the video more dopamine filled, to keep you guys watching till the end. And if you watch the video longer, you can see more ads, and if you see more ads, the creator makes more money, and if the creator makes more money, the tech guys make more money. And that's how simple it is. We are in a circle leading by the tech guys, the creators, and the consumers at the last, and we don't even realize it that we are in a bubble, and we have to burst out of this bubble. The main effect of our dopamine system being used against us is the reducing attention span of humans, right? The average human's attention span is about 8.25 seconds, if I'm not wrong, and an average fish attention span is about 9 seconds. So think about it. Humans are supposed to be the smartest beings on the planet Earth, right? But if you think about it, humans, fishes are actually smarter than us. Okay, they're not actually smarter than us, but they can focus more than us. There might come a time where fishes will take over the world and humans will be their slaves. Fishes will start eating humans as we eat fishes right now. That is very unlikely to happen, but I'm just trying to put things into perspective, right? Maybe fishes won't do it, maybe monkeys will do it, but there will come a time, if we don't work upon this right now collectively, there will come a time where some other creature will come in, and because of their higher attention span, because they can focus more on things, they will outpace the humans and take over the human race, take over the planet Earth. You never know, this thing could happen. People are scared about aliens invasion and the world ending. Don't be scared about that. That is very unlikely to happen. But the thing which is likely to happen is some other creature which is living on planet Earth, for example, monkeys, can actually take over the whole world because it has a better attention span than humans. This thing actually drives me nuts, Like, I read a study recently which said 7% of the world's population, of the world's teenage population, I'm sorry, the 7% of the world's teenage population is actually forgetting their own birthday. Like, smartest beings on the planet are forgetting their own birthday. There'll come a time where people will start forgetting their own names. Right? This thing should drive you people crazy. Who can forget their own birthday? Like, how low should your dopamine receptors be? How low should your attention span be that you're actually fucking forgetting your birthday? And this is not just the thing. Lower attention span also means lower focus, and lower focus is equals to lower growth. And if a person is not growing, he's never at the same place, he's going down. You're in life, you're either growing or you're going down. So if you have lower attention span and if you cannot focus on things properly, then obviously you're not going up, so you're obviously going downwards. It's a downward spiral, it's a bubble. We are stuck in a bubble and we do not realize it. I knew about this propaganda. I'm not sure where I heard it. I'm trying to recall. Okay, never mind. But it said in the lines of how, if you tell a lie enough times, and if you tell a lie over and over and over again for years together for enough times, people actually start to believe that the lie is a truth. And that is happening right now. And people are believing that being on their phone and mindlessly scrolling and being addicted to these things which don't give us anything is their real life, and which is not the real life, which is not the reality. And they know it, but this lie has been told to us so many times that they are questioning their own default setting, their own natural beliefs, because this lie has been told to us so many times by these genius tech guys who are being paid millions of dollars, that we actually start to believe that this is the life, this is what is reality, this is the truth. We have to live our life like this. Now I believe that if you go on internet, there are obviously so many different propagandas of how you can do a dopamine detox, take a cold shower, do no fap for months and all those things. But I believe, I honestly, with my core hearts, I believe that to fix your life, to fix your dopamine receptors, all you need is 8 hours of sleep, enough water, let's say 3 to 4 liters of water per day, and not touching your phone first thing in the morning. If you do these three things for a long enough time, for let's say few months, couple of months, if you do this, you'll actually see that your dopamine receptors are more recharged, your dopamine levels are higher, and all these things, right? Because one thing, you're getting enough sleep, which is recharging your dopamine system, and second thing, you're drinking enough water, which will keep you energized and which will keep your dopamine receptors on a constant level, and third thing is you're not touching your phone in first thing in the morning, which means if you're not touching your phone first thing in the morning, which means you're doing something else. And anything else which does not include phone is lower dopamine activity. Trust me, guys, anything else which does not include your mobile phone is a lower dopamine activity. If you go on internet, there is this 75 hard and all these new monk mode and all these propagandas. Sure, they'll work for me, but there are very few people who can actually stick to it for long enough time, right? So I don't believe it will work for everyone. You don't have to do cold showers. You don't have to go on a rigid no fap, maintain your streaks for months and months together. You don't have to do that. All you have to do is drink enough water, get enough sleep, and don't touch your phone first thing in the morning. If you do this for a long enough time, if you do this for a stretch of time, you'll see that things start falling in its place on its own. You don't have to do anything else. All you do is these three things, and you'll automatically start looking for new habits because you have all this new energy in your body stored, refreshed dopamine systems every day, that you start looking for activities like going out on walk and doing all this other stuff which you would have never thought of doing if you were to not get enough sleep, not drink enough water, and touch your phone first thing in the morning. Now, all of a sudden, if you do these things, all of a sudden, reading book becomes interesting. Talking to your family members becomes interesting. Going on a walk becomes interesting. Just hanging out with your friends without touching your phones becomes fun. All of a sudden, you start living life. You're not just going through the motions of life, you're actually starting to live life. Look, guys, dopamine is actually a really great thing. Dopamine, as I said in the beginning of the video, dopamine is a blessing in disguise. But the thing is, the sources that we are getting our dopamine from are really bad. The cheap sources of dopamine, we have to cut them out. Because dopamine is a great thing. Dopamine is what gets us started first thing in the morning, right? But because our dopamine system is being used to these cheap sources of dopamine hits, that our real sources of dopamine hits are getting depleted. All you have to do is replace your cheap sources of dopamine with good sources of dopamine, like reading books or taking a good shower, going out for a walk, talking to your family members without touching your phone. You'll look at life in a different way. Your perspective on life all of a sudden changes. Like this majority of teenagers who are depressed for no reasons. I mean, sure, if you have a serious depression problem and all those things, exception. If you have a lost limb, if you lost your father, something happened, exception. That is real depression. But most of the teenage guys who say that they have depression, if all they do is drink enough water, get enough sleep, and don't touch their phone first thing in the morning, they're not depressed anymore. They are like a new person. They don't feel sad. They are all of a sudden motivated to do stuff they didn't even think about before. Like, sure, there are so many propaganda out there that you could do this, you could do that, but we are forgetting the basics, guys. What are the basics? Drink enough water, get enough sleep, and don't touch your phone first thing in the morning because that is not natural. So, if we stick to the basics, or everything else in our life comes to its place on its own, right? All you have to do is do the basics. um I read this book long ago, the 2080 rule, where you have to do 20, where you have to put in 20% of efforts in order to get 80% of the results. And in your life, the 20% of efforts you need to keep putting every day is just get enough sleep, drink enough water, and don't touch your phone first thing in the morning. Like, I cannot emphasize more on these three things. Just do these three things, and you'll be a whole another person. You'll be a different person. You don't even have to take cold showers, no faps, go to gym every day, get a new habit, and all these things. You'll start doing those things on your own when once you start doing the basics, right? If a person doesn't know ABCD, he cannot spell big words, and if he cannot spell big words, he cannot form new sentences, right? So it's the basics. Guys are forgetting the basics and going to form sentences while they don't even know alphabets. They don't even know how to write ABCD, right? You're getting the context, right? I just wanted to put some picture to perspective. Like, you don't have to do all this hard stuff. Sure, you have to do it some point in your life, but for now, all you have to do is basics. Just get the basics right, and everything else will work for itself. Everything else will fall in its place on its own on the right time. Your dopamine controls you, guys. Your dopamine literally has control over your whole life. Like, the reason you touch your phone first thing in the morning is because your dopamine system is telling you to touch it. The reason you cannot leave your phone alone for even a minute in a day is because your dopamine system is not letting you leave your phone alone. The tech guys, you don't want to scroll, right? You don't want to mindlessly scroll, but you're doing it just for the sake of doing it. Now the tech guys have total control over you. They can show you whatever you want. They can be like, okay, now you watch this. Sure, now you watch this. Okay, you liked on this one. Now you're going to get an ad about it. right? So you don't have control over your life. Trust me, this is freaking serious. You don't have even a bit of control your life. Your whole life is being controlled by the ads, by your mindless scrolling, by your dopamine systems, and the dopamine systems that are being exploited by these tech guys, by these software engineers and all these people and all these big companies. These guys are exploiting you for their money. And sure, they have children to feed, but we have to come out of this, right? We have to break this bubble. We have to step out of this circle and use our dopamine for good things, right? Your dopamine controls you, and you need to take back control of your life. That's it for today, and I will see you soon. Before I end the video, I just wanted to tell that if you watch the video till here, if you can listen to me talking right now, that means you're on the right track, guys. Because if you have the attention span to watch, I don't know how long this video is going to be, probably like 20 minutes or 15 minutes, 15 minutes video, which has no cuts, no editing, nothing, just a random guy sitting and talking for 15 minutes straight with no background music and no animation. And if you have that level of focus, then I don't even think you needed this video at the first place. And I'm guessing right now that probably there will be only 2 or 3 people at max. 2 or 3 is also an overstatement, but yeah, at max 2 or 3 people who are going to watch my video until this point. Because if there's one thing that I did not do in this video is add a lot of cuts and add a lot of background music and add a lot of animations and stock footages to make it more dopamine releasing, to enhance it with, you know, all this stuff to make you guys hooked or make you guys addicted, to so that you guys watch the video until the last. So I did not do that. So if you have watched the video until here, then you are on the right track, man. Just keep going, keep hustling. See you soon.